There comes a moment in every human life when the noise of the world grows deafening, when the endless chase for status, wealth, and validation drowns out the deeper call that has been whispering beneath it all. And in that silence, if you dare to pause, if you dare to look beyond the visible, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to see patterns where once there was only chaos. You start to feel meaning in places you thought were meaningless. And in the stillness between your thoughts, you begin to sense a presence. Not as a figure in the clouds, not as an old story told by prophets, but as the living, breathing intelligence woven into every corner of existence. That presence is God. Not confined to temples, mosques, churches, or scriptures, but pulsing through the heartbeat of the universe itself. And yet most people never truly witness it, not because it hides, but because they have been trained to look in the wrong direction. They search for miracles in the sky while ignoring the miracles beneath their feet. They demand signs and wonders while walking past the sacred every single day. The truth is this: God does not reveal himself through grand spectacles. He reveals himself through the ordinary, through the sunrise that returns without fail, through the seed that cracks open in the darkness to become a tree, through the invisible mathematics that keeps the planets in orbit, and the breath that keeps you alive without your effort. And once you begin to see, really see, you will realize you are never separate from this divine intelligence. You have been swimming in it all along. But seeing beyond the world requires more than eyesight. It demands a transformation of perception, a shift from the shallow lens of ego to the deeper vision of awareness. It is not about adding new beliefs to your mind. It is about peeling back the layers of conditioning that blind you to what has always been there. Consider Thomas Edison, who after 1,000 failed attempts to create the light bulb was asked how he endured so many failures. He replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." Most see that as resilience. But look deeper. It is also faith, a deep, intuitive knowing that the intelligence that governs the universe rewards those who persist in harmony with its laws. Edison was not simply inventing. He was participating in a divine process, co-creating with the very order that shapes galaxies. The same is true of every great visionary. Henry Ford saw beyond the limitations of his time and believed in a future that did not yet exist. Walt Disney looked at barren land and envisioned a kingdom of imagination. Abraham Lincoln endured ridicule and defeat because he trusted that truth, though slow and silent, would prevail. These were not just men of ambition. They were men attuned to something larger than themselves. They witnessed the hand of the divine in every obstacle, every setback, every unseen connection that brought their vision to life. The world tries to convince you that you are small, that you are powerless, that you are just one more cog in a meaningless machine. But step outside that illusion for a moment. Look at your own body, billions of cells working in perfect harmony, none of which you control. Look at the stars, infinite worlds spinning in a cosmic dance, none of which you command. And yet you exist within this order, breathing its air, thinking with a mind born from its laws. That is not accident. That is not coincidence. That is presence. That is God. When you understand this, a shift occurs. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that is happening through you. Your struggles, your failures, your triumphs, they are not isolated events. They are brushstrokes on a larger canvas you cannot yet see. Every detour, every delay, every heartbreak is part of a grander design that is guiding you toward your purpose. The question is not whether God is present. The question is whether you are paying attention. And paying attention begins with humility. The humility to admit that you do not control everything, that you do not know everything, and that the very breath you take is a gift, not a guarantee. It begins with gratitude, not as a ritual, but as a state of being. Because gratitude is the language through which the soul recognizes the divine. The more you give thanks, the more clearly you see the fingerprints of God on everything around you. So pause, breathe, look again at the life you've been rushing through. The sacred is not hidden, it is waiting to be noticed. In the laughter of a child, in the wisdom of a storm, in the stillness of a single moment where everything is exactly as it should be.
To witness God's presence is not to escape the world, it is to walk through it with awakened eyes. It is not to abandon ambition, success, or achievement, it is to pursue them with a deeper understanding of where your power truly comes from. The world teaches you to chase power as if it exists outside of you. But the greatest secret, the one known to every enlightened soul and every extraordinary achiever is this: power flows through you, not to you. And it is not yours alone. It is borrowed from the source that created you. This is why belief, that quiet, unwavering certainty, is the foundation of every transformation. Belief is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the recognition that the intelligence that birthed galaxies also breathes life into your dreams. When Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve," he was not speaking metaphorically. He was revealing a law of the universe. What you conceive is a spark. What you believe is the fuel. And when those two forces meet, the universe moves mountains to make way for your vision. But belief is not born in comfort. It is forged in the fires of doubt, hammered by the blows of failure, tempered by the weight of time. Think of Abraham Lincoln, a man who lost election after election, faced personal tragedy, and suffered public humiliation. By worldly logic, he had every reason to quit. But Lincoln saw beyond the visible. He understood that each defeat was not a denial, but a refinement, shaping him into the leader destiny required. He believed not because the path was easy, but because the purpose was greater than his pain. And in that belief, he found the strength to rise again and again until history itself bent to his resolve. This is the nature of divine presence. It does not promise you an easy life. It offers you a meaningful one. It does not remove obstacles. It transforms them into instruments of your evolution. Every setback is the sculptor's hand shaping the statue of who you are meant to become. And when you understand this, you stop cursing your struggles and start blessing them. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Clarity is the next key, because the universe responds to direction. A ship without a destination is at the mercy of every wind, but one with a clear course cuts through storms with unshakable purpose. Clarity is not about knowing how everything will unfold. It is about knowing why you must move forward. Your why is the bridge between the finite and the infinite. It is the signal you send to the universe, the declaration that you are ready to become a vessel for something larger than yourself. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Thomas Edison was called a fool. Henry Ford was mocked for dreaming of cars when horses filled the streets. Yet they all shared one thing: clarity. They knew what they wanted to build and why it mattered. And because they knew, the universe conspired in their favor. What seemed impossible slowly became inevitable. But clarity without discipline is like a map without movement, useless. Discipline is the sacred act of showing up again and again, even when nothing seems to be working. It is the daily decision to align your actions with your vision. And here is where most people fail. They wait for motivation to strike, for signs to appear, for certainty to arrive. But God does not reward those who wait. He rewards those who walk. He rewards the ones who plant seeds in barren soil, who keep swinging when the world says stop, who believe when evidence says otherwise. This is the paradox of divine law. The miracle is often disguised as monotony. The breakthrough hides behind the boring. And those who understand this, those who show up not just once, but every single day, become unstoppable. Look at the life of Nikola Tesla. He spent years alone in his lab, mocked by peers, misunderstood by investors, and ignored by society. Yet his discipline was unshakable. He knew he was tapping into something greater, a universal intelligence that whispered ideas into his mind. And because he remained faithful to that work, humanity was forever changed by the inventions that flowed through him. The same force lives within you. The same presence that guided Tesla's hand, Ford's vision, Lincoln's courage, and Edison's persistence is ready to guide yours. But it will not shout over your distractions. It will not compete with your doubts. It speaks softly, through intuition, through coincidence, through the quiet pull of your soul. And if you listen, truly listen, you will feel it guiding you toward the life you were created to live. This is not superstition. This is law. This is alignment. This is the reality behind the illusion of separation. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will recognize that every step you take, every challenge, every triumph, every breath is part of a divine choreography. And you are not a spectator. You are a dancer in the great unfolding of creation.
Purpose is the compass of the soul, the invisible current beneath the surface of every great life. Without it, you drift. With it, you rise. And the deeper you understand this truth, the more you realize that purpose is not something you invent, it is something you uncover. It's already written within you, etched into the fabric of your being before you ever took your first breath. The problem is that most people never slow down long enough to listen. They drown out the whispers of their soul with the noise of the world. They chase what is popular instead of what is purposeful. They confuse busyness with progress, comfort with calling, safety with success, and in doing so, they trade the extraordinary for the ordinary. But purpose is patient. It waits behind the distractions, behind the fears, behind the false identities you've built to please others. It waits for the moment you become still enough, honest enough to ask, "Why am I here?" That question is the door, and once you dare to open it, everything changes. Because purpose is not about personal gain, it's about divine assignment. It's about aligning your gifts with the world's needs, about becoming a channel through which something greater than yourself can flow. Andrew Carnegie did not build steel empires merely to be rich. He saw his wealth as a tool to expand human progress. Martin Luther King Jr. did not march for fame. He marched because his purpose demanded it. Mother Teresa did not serve the forgotten because it was glamorous. She did it because love itself compelled her. When you live in alignment with your purpose, obstacles no longer feel like punishments, they feel like preparation. The storms don't destroy you, they strengthen you. The delays don't discourage you, they deepen your resolve. Because once purpose grips your heart, quitting is no longer an option. And here lies one of the greatest secrets of divine presence. God's timing is perfect, but rarely predictable. We live in an age that worships speed. We want answers now, results now, success now. But the universe does not bend to impatience. It bends to readiness. The oak tree does not rush its growth. The river does not force its flow. And neither should you. There are seasons for sowing and seasons for reaping, and the wisdom is knowing which season you are in. Impatience blinds you to the beauty of the process. It convinces you that delays are detours, when in reality they are divine timing at work. Every challenge, every closed door, every silent season is part of the choreography. It is preparing you, refining you, sculpting you into the person capable of carrying the weight of your destiny. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned for crimes he did not commit. By all appearances, he was forgotten. But in reality, every trial was a step in a larger plan that would eventually place him in a position to save nations. What felt like a curse was actually a calling in disguise. Your life is no different. What you see as failure may be the foundation of your future. What you see as rejection may be redirection. What you see as silence may be preparation. Trust the timing. Because when your purpose aligns with divine will, doors will open that no man can shut. Resilience is the bridge between purpose and destiny. It is the quiet courage to keep moving when everything in you wants to stop. It is the decision to stand tall when the world knocks you down. Resilience is not a trait you're born with. It is forged through adversity, shaped by suffering, and strengthened by perseverance. History is written by those who refuse to quit. Thomas Edison endured thousands of failed experiments before light filled the world. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years behind prison walls before his nation tasted freedom. Helen Keller overcame the darkness of blindness and deafness to become a voice of inspiration for millions. What did they all have in common? They believed that the purpose inside them was greater than the pain around them. And that is the essence of divine partnership. Not that life becomes easy, but that you become unbreakable. Not that storms disappear, but that you learn to dance in the rain. You stop asking for lighter burdens and start praying for stronger shoulders. And when you do, the universe responds. Strength flows where surrender lives. Power rises where patience dwells. So if you are in the valley now, if the mountain before you seems too high, the night too long, the silence too heavy, do not despair. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And one day, when the pieces align and the season arrives, you will look back and realize that the hand of God was guiding you every step of the way. There is a truth so powerful, so transformative, that once you understand it, nothing in your life will ever look the same again. Real change does not begin with your circumstances. It begins with you. The world you see outside is merely a reflection of the world you cultivate within. And if you desire to witness the presence of God everywhere, you must first awaken that presence within yourself. Transformation is not an event, it's a process, a sacred unfolding that demands honesty, patience, and courage. It begins the moment you stop blaming the world and start mastering your inner world. Because until you do, no amount of money, success, or recognition will ever fill the void inside. You will keep searching for God in mountains and miracles, unaware that He's been quietly waiting in the depths of your own soul. The great Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." And thousands of years before him, the sages of the East taught that enlightenment was not found in temples or scriptures, but in the stillness of the heart. This is not metaphor, it is law. The divine cannot be witnessed through a mind clouded by resentment, fear, and ego. It can only be seen through a soul purified by self-awareness. This is why discipline and inner mastery are not just tools for success, they are sacred practices.
Every morning you wake early instead of sleeping in, you are training your will. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are sharpening your mind. Every moment you respond with patience instead of anger, you are cleansing your heart. And with each small act of mastery, the divine within you grows louder, clearer, and more radiant. But inner transformation also demands something harder, the courage to confront your shadows, the parts of you you've buried, the fears you've denied, the wounds you've ignored. Because God's light cannot dwell in the places you refuse to look. And make no mistake, confronting your inner darkness is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is easier to build empires and conquer nations than it is to conquer yourself. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela. His greatest transformation did not happen when he became president, it happened in a prison cell. Locked away for 27 years, stripped of freedom, dignity, and control, Mandela did not grow bitter, he grew wiser. He did not let hatred define him, he mastered it. And because he won the war within, he was able to lead a nation towards reconciliation instead of revenge. His prison was not punishment, it was preparation. The same is true for you. The heartbreak that crushed you, the failure that humiliated you, the betrayal that broke your trust, none of it was meaningless. Each wound was a mirror, showing you where you still needed healing. Each disappointment was a teacher, guiding you toward deeper wisdom. And when you embrace them, not as curses but as catalysts, your pain becomes sacred. This is how the divine works, not by removing your struggles, but by refining you through them. The fire that purifies gold does not destroy it, it reveals its brilliance. And in the same way, the challenges you face are not there to break you, they are there to burn away everything that is not you, so that your true self, the divine spark within, can emerge. Once you begin to live from that place, life itself transforms. The mundane becomes miraculous. The ordinary becomes sacred. You begin to notice the quiet intelligence behind every moment, the way one conversation leads to an opportunity, the way a closed door redirects you to a better path, the way a setback humbles you just enough to prepare you for the next level. These are not coincidences. These are fingerprints of the divine. And the deeper you go, the more you realize that the presence of God is not confined to moments of meditation or flashes of revelation. It's in everything. It's in the laughter of a stranger that lifts your mood. It's in the storm that forces you to pause. It's in the silence between heartbeats, reminding you that life itself is a miracle. Transformation is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you truly are. Beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning, you are already connected to the source. You are already worthy. You are already divine. The work is not to reach for God, but to remove everything that makes you forget you were never separate in the first place.
There is a point in every seeker's journey when the realization dawns. You were never meant to be a mere observer of God's work. You were meant to be a participant in it. You're not a spectator watching creation unfold. You are a co-creator, entrusted with the sacred responsibility of shaping the world through the gifts placed within you. And once this truth sinks into the deepest part of your soul, your life stops being something you live and becomes something you build. To co-create with the divine is not arrogance, it is obedience. It is saying yes to the calling etched into your spirit long before you were born. It is understanding that the talents you possess, the visions that stir in your heart, the ideas that haunt your imagination, they are not random. They are divine instructions disguised as desires. And to ignore them is not humility, it is disobedience. Look at the great builders of civilization. They were not passive dreamers. They were active creators. Andrew Carnegie saw not just steel, but the architecture of a nation. Steve Jobs didn't just imagine a product. He reshaped how humanity connects. Leonardo da Vinci didn't just paint pictures. He captured glimpses of divine perfection. Their work was not separate from spirituality. It was spirituality. It was their way of reflecting God's infinite creativity into a finite world. This is the essence of divine partnership. God provides the canvas, but you must pick up the brush. He gives the seed, but you must till the soil. He lights the spark, but you must fan the flame. And the moment you understand this, procrastination dies. Excuses lose their power because you realize that hesitation is not just wasted time, it is delayed purpose. But co-creation requires courage because to bring the invisible into reality means stepping into uncertainty. It means acting before the path is fully lit. It means walking by faith, not by sight. This is where so many people falter. They wait for perfect clarity, perfect timing, perfect conditions, but perfection never arrives. The path is revealed step by step, and only to those willing to walk. Henry Ford once said, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." The world often cannot see what you are called to build because it's not their vision, it's yours. And that is why faith is essential. Faith is not blind hope, it is spiritual sight. It is the conviction that what you see within will one day exist without. It is knowing that if God planted the vision, He will also provide the provision. But you must act, because action is the language of faith. Without it, belief remains a wish. Without it, vision remains a dream. The universe does not respond to intentions, it responds to movement. And every step you take in alignment with your purpose sends a ripple through reality, drawing resources, people, and opportunities into your orbit. Think of the Wright brothers, bicycle mechanics with no formal education in engineering. The world laughed at their dream of flight, but their faith was stronger than the ridicule. Every failed attempt was not a setback, but a stepping stone. And in a gust of wind on a cold December morning, the impossible surrendered. Humanity took to the skies. This is the pattern of divine creation: vision, belief, action, manifestation. Miss one step and the chain is broken. Honor all four and nothing can stand in your way. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, and it's the one most people forget: surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means giving over. It means doing everything in your power and then trusting the timing, the outcome, and the process to something higher. It means releasing the illusion of control and making peace with the unfolding. Because the truth is, no matter how powerful your vision, how fierce your discipline, how relentless your action, you cannot force fruit to ripen before its time. The farmer plants the seed, waters the soil, and protects the field, but he cannot command the harvest. In the same way, your job is effort. The result belongs to God. And once you embrace this balance, relentless action paired with surrendered trust, peace enters your heart. Worry loses its grip. Anxiety fades because you finally understand that success is not a battle you must win, it is a partnership you must nurture. This is how you live as a co-creator. You dream boldly, work tirelessly, and trust deeply. You show up with everything you have and release everything you cannot control. And in doing so, you align your will with the will of the universe. You stop chasing success and start attracting it.
But this is only the beginning. Because once you learn to walk side by side with the divine, once you understand that life is not something happening to you, but something happening through you, a new chapter begins. It is the chapter of boldness, of destiny, of rising to the great calling etched into your soul before you ever drew your first breath. The moment you stop chasing and start attracting is the same moment you realize you were never meant to be ordinary. You were never designed to simply survive. You were built to build, to lead, to serve, to become. You were created as an instrument, a living, breathing expression of God's will on earth. And that means your dreams are not accidents, they are instructions. Every vision that stirs your heart is not fantasy, it's a message. Every burning desire that refuses to die is not random, it's a summons. And when you ignore it, you do not just betray yourself, you betray the very source that placed it within you. So now, you must rise. Rise like the dawn that pierces the longest night. Rise like fire breaking free from the ashes. Rise like those before you who changed the course of history not because they were superhuman, but because they believed they were meant to. Think of Edison, who refused to see failure as defeat but as instruction, and in doing so, brought light to the darkness. Think of Lincoln, who walked through failure after failure, heartbreak after heartbreak, until destiny placed the weight of a nation on his shoulders. Think of Harriet Tubman, who followed a voice she could not see through forests of danger, liberating hundreds and igniting hope where there was none. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They did not beg for permission. They did not sit back and wonder if they were ready. They moved, and in their movement, the universe moved with them. And so must you. Now is the time to step beyond hesitation. Now is the time to silence the chorus of doubt and fear that has held you hostage. The world does not need another spectator. It needs a warrior, a creator, a leader who walks not by sight, but by vision. Because faith, real faith, is not passive. It does not sit and wish. It stands and acts. It builds the ark before the rain. It marches around the walls before they fall. It climbs the mountain even when the summit is hidden by clouds. And with every step, the invisible becomes visible. The impossible becomes inevitable. You were chosen to be here, in this era, in this moment, for a reason. Out of billions of souls, it is you who carries this mission. It is you who must speak when others stay silent. It is you who must build what others only dream about. And it is you who must love in a world that has forgotten how. So stop underestimating the power that breathes within you. Stop shrinking to fit a world you were born to expand. Stop doubting the voice inside that calls you towards something greater. That voice is God's whisper, and every time you follow it, you bring heaven a little closer to earth. The battlefield is not out there, it's in your mind. The enemy is not the world, it's the part of you that believes you are powerless. But you are not powerless. You are potential in motion. You are divine possibility clothed in flesh and bone. You are the answer to prayers you don't even know have been prayed. So rise, stand tall, step forward into the storm and know that you are not alone. The same intelligence that moves the stars moves within you. The same force that carved the oceans fuels your heartbeat. The same wisdom that spun galaxies into existence guides your every step. And when the doubts return, and they will, remember this: greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It belongs to the ones who choose it. It belongs to those who wake up each day and decide that fear will not rule them, that mediocrity will not define them, that destiny is not something they wait for, it is something they become. Now is your time. This is your hour. Stand as the co-creator you were always meant to be. Speak as if your words can shift worlds because they can. Work as if your actions ripple through eternity because they do. Live as if God Himself walks beside you because He does.
And when the final breath leaves your body and your story is told, let the world say not that you lived cautiously, but that you lived courageously, that you saw beyond the world and built something worthy of the heaven that inspired it. The harvest is waiting, the universe is listening, and God is watching. Now go and become